Kids jokes. A priest is walking down the street one day when he notices a very small boy trying to press a doorbell on a house across the street. However, the boy is very small and the doorbell is too high for him to reach. After watching the boy's efforts for some time, the priest moves closer to the boy's position. He steps smartly across the street, walks up behind the little fellow and, placing his hand kindly on the child's shoulder, leans over and gives the doorbell a sold ring. Crouching down to the child's level, the priest smiles benevolently and asks, "And now what, my little man?" To which the boy replies, "Now we run." Jokes about life. An old couple celebrates their 50th wedding anniversary in their home. Just think, the old man says, "We were sitting here at this same breakfast table, naked as jaybirds, 50 years ago." Well, the old lady snickers, "What do you say, should we get naked?" The two immediately strip to the buff and sit back down at the table. "You know, honey," the little old lady says slyly, "my breasts burn for you now as they did 50 years ago." "I'm not surprised," replies the old man. "One's in your coffee and the other is in your oatmeal." Jokes about life. Employer, "We need someone responsible for the job." "Sir, your search ends here. In my previous job, whenever something went wrong, everybody said I was responsible." Marriage jokes. The young fellow is about to marry and asks his grandfather how often a married couple should have sex. His grandfather tells him, "When you first get married, you want it all the time, maybe several times a day, later on, maybe once a week. As you get older, you have sex maybe once a month. When you get really old, you are lucky to have it once a year, maybe on your anniversary." The young fellow asks, "How about you and grandma?" His grandfather replies, "Oh, we just have oral sex now. She goes into her bedroom and I go into my bedroom. She yells, 'FKU,' and I holler back, 'FKU, too.'" Jokes about Facebook. Behind every successful student, there is a deactivated Facebook account. Marriage jokes. A woman woke in the middle of the night to find her husband missing from their bed. In the stillness of the house, she could hear a muffled sound downstairs. She went downstairs and looked around, still not finding her husband. Listening again, she could definitely hear moaning. She went down to the basement to find her husband, crouched in the corner facing the wall, sobbing. "What's wrong with you?" she asked him. "Remember when your father caught us together when you were 16? He replied. "And remember," he said, "I had two choices, I could either marry you, or spend the next 20 years in prison." Baffled, she said, "Yes, I remember. So I would have gotten out today." Marriage jokes. A man went to the doctor complaining of insomnia. The doctor gave him a thorough examination, found absolutely nothing physically wrong with him, and then told him, "Listen, if you ever expect to cure your insomnia, you just have to stop taking your trouble to bed with you." "I know," said the man, "but I can't Euro trademark tea. My wife refuses to sleep alone." Chuck Norris jokes. Chuck Norris and Justin Bieber once had a singing contest, the loser had to never hit puberty. Chuck Norris jokes. Chuck Norris can play the saxophone, while holding his breath. Cop jokes. The CIA has 3 candidates, 2 men and a woman, for one assassin position. On the final day of testing, the CIA proctor leads the first male candidate to a large steel door and hands him a gun. "We must know that you will follow our instructions, regardless of the circumstances," he explains. Inside this room, you will find your wife sitting in a chair. Take this gun and kill her. The man is horrified. You can't be serious. I could never shoot my wife. Well, says the proctor, you're definitely not the right man for this job then. The CIA proctor leads the second male candidate to another large steel door and hands him a gun. We must know that you will follow instructions, no matter what the circumstances, the proctor explains. Inside this room, you will find your wife sitting in a chair. Take this gun and kill her. The second man steadies himself, takes the gun and enters the room. After 3 quiet minutes, the man exits the room with tears in his eyes. I wanted to do it, I just couldn't pull the trigger and shoot my wife. I guess I'm not the right man for the job. Finally, the CIA proctor leads the female candidate to yet another large steel door and hands her a gun. We must be sure that you will follow instructions, no matter what the circumstances. Inside this room, you will find your husband sitting in a chair. Take this gun and kill him. The woman takes the gun, enters the room, and before the door even closes completely behind her, she's fired off 6 shots. Then all hell breaks loose behind the door, cursing, screaming, crashing. Suddenly, all goes quiet. The door opens slowly, the woman exits, and wiping the sweat from her brow, she says, "Did you guys know the gun was loaded with blanks? I had to beat the son of a bitch to death with the chair."